everybody. We are back, father and son, for our third episode. Exactly. He's the father, I'm the son. I hope that's clear as day, but we're back for the third episode, and that is Business Bits. So this is now the third podcast, the third episode, and we officially have named it. So it's a business show.
What is the name?
Business Bits. So that way business owners.
Kind of like Business Bites, Business Bits.
Exactly.
Okay,
so business
it's catchy,
owners.
it's one syllable, it's melodic. I like it.
And then the business owner can tune on in and find out investment and wealth management advice specifically tailored towards business owners, because Dad, you and I both know, business owners have a unique set of situations
they
have to tackle when it comes to their retirement that someone that might just be an employee will never have to think of, and they'll really never have to figure out because they're not as much on their own as an employer is.
Well, that's true. When you're an employer, you're basically your own island, right? You're out there in the middle of the Pacific, and there's the rain squalls coming in, and there's the thunderous ocean, lapping up at the shoreline. But at the end of the day, you may be in business for yourself, but you don't have to be by yourself. We're advocates, Michael. I love to work with business owners. That's I like to say we have a commerce of hearts, because we basically speak the same language. We walk the same walk, talk the same talk. And at the end of the day, there's so many things to think about for your business welfare: taking care of employees, taking care of your customers, making sure that you're going the extra mile and delivering a fabulous experience. All of the things that are relevant to keep your business active and continuing to take market share and be successful. So this is the kind of thing that we really love to talk about, and so I'm happy to be part of Business Bits.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to get into a couple ways business owners can protect themselves against death, disability, or the departure of one of their key people or key members in their company in just a moment.
Right.
But first, I'm not sure if you guys could tell, you're either tuning on in or you're watching, but Dad, you're looking like you're starting to sweat just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little hot in here. Well, listen, I should bring out the silk hanky, right? With perspiring all over. You don't know this, folks, but we moved into a fabulous new office here at the BB&T building at 2000 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. Got a beautiful veranda wrapping around the building, breathtaking views, but it is hot as blazes because right now they're doing some construction out in the hallway. They've ripped up the old ratty-tatty carpet, and they've sandpapered the walls. They're going to put down magnificent tile floor, ceramic tile floor. But it's really gotten hot in here because they did something with the air conditioning unit. So we kind of jerry-rigged a couple of cold water units, and they're only partially working. We don't have enough bandwidth, or we don't have enough capacity to cool down our little studio here. So if we look like we're perspiring in this video portion, we are, because it is hot as blazes today. But we're still going to have fun
in here. It's getting hot. But let's get into the topic of the day, because I know business owners are tuning in, and hopefully you guys are in your own air conditioning somewhere listening to this, enjoying the show. But business owners, usually they have multiple members. Some people do own their businesses by themselves, but a lot of people have another partner alongside them. And there's various different ways that people can protect their business if that owner was deciding to potentially leave down the road, or just unfortunately were to pass away. And there's three of them that you really need to take a look at, starting with, you and I both know, the key person life and disability option.
Sure.
Because if you don't have that in place, your business can go under just because something doesn't go the way with your partner.
Well, that's right. Death and disability are like taxes. They can pay a visitation on anyone. In truth, it is hot, but in truth, you've got to make sure that if you have a key man in your company, let's say it's a sales or marketing person that does your multimedia, however you showcase your brand out in the business world, you really want to think about what the loss to you in revenue or your business, the impact would be if that person, something happened to them, such as a death or disability. And then maybe consider different options as a way to insure against that eventuality. There's something called business overhead insurance, where you basically can buy a policy that can cover your fixed costs of operation, your rent, and so on and so forth, to basically allow the business to at least maintain itself if there's a reorganization that has to happen due to a death or disability. So something to give real thought to, making sure that you got things like that in place.
Yeah, and it's especially good for people that may not be best at managing their books, because that insurance can definitely come in a windfall when you need it the most.
No doubt about it, yeah. You got to make sure also, Mike, if there's a partnership or multiple shareholders, that you have something called a buy-sell and or a stock redemption plan. They're very similar, but the idea is that if you have 3 partners and they each own a third of the business, you don't ever want a death or disability to cause you to have to buy that person out at an undetermined price based on where you are in your business. It's much better to have an agreement in writing that's updated from time to time with some kind of a reasonable business valuation done maybe by a third-party agency to determine, what the arrangement's going to be if a partner becomes disabled, how they're going to be bought out, what the eventuality of that's going to look like, and then how to fund it. Sometimes insurance makes sense, or other times it's just a sinking fund, or setting up an employee stock option plan where stock can basically build up, in this plan, and at a certain triggering event, such as the death of a primary founder or something like that, money in that stock plan can be used to buy out the shareholder's spouse if she's a widow from the business. So a lot of different creative ideas, but it's really important just to think innovatively, think outside of the box as to what you can do to really try to protect your investment in your business work.
Yes, and if you have a family when it comes to your business and your family's intermingled or entangled, whenever I think of a buy-sell agreement, Dad, you're probably not familiar with this show, but I'm always thinking right back to Arrested Development.
Not really familiar with
But
it.
if you're familiar with the premise, it's kind of similar to you and I, where the son works for the father, he helps him build the business on up, but they don't have the right agreements in place, and when the father passes away, the siblings come into play. So essentially the siblings start using the business as their own piggy bank, while the other siblings trying to grow it. So eventually, long story short, he ends up back in the first family business because they need money, selling bananas at a banana stand. So,
oh my gosh,
buy-sell agreements are crucial, especially when you have multiple owners and family members involved, because not every family member necessarily wants to see a business thrive. Some of them just want money out as soon as they can get it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And if you have that situation, you may have, as Michael said for he and I, that culture. But then it's important to say, how do you protect or how do you treat this business asset as part of maybe your estate with somebody that you've partnered with in your family, separate and apart from the other family assets, and how do you create some kind of equality there? So there's no one simple answer for everyone, but it does again require the thought-provoking process of asking the right questions. What kind of protection or what kind of plan do I envision having if something like this should ever occur in the future? And we certainly are here as a resource to help people learn about these things.
Yes, a resource, and if you ever want to reach out to us, we're also here to lend a helping hand. You could either tune on into the show and just get educated, but if you want someone to help guide you along the way, we could definitely assist you, because as business owners, we know the unique situations that you have to deal with.
That's right.
So as a business owner, you want to make sure, if you can, that you potentially have a financial advisor or a wealth manager like you, Dad, that is a business owner, because you might bring up situations on how they could protect their business that their advisor may completely just put to the side because they don't know.
Right. No, that's exactly right. So, at the end of the day, you're bringing up a lot of good points, Mike, and I think, again, it just speaks to the fact that business owners have a lot of things to think about, right? And a lot of competing interests as to how you allocate your time and attention. What we try to do is be an advocate or a coach for the business owner to really make sure that they prioritize what to focus on, and then build out some planning, in the investment world or otherwise, to really meet those needs going forward. And that's what we love to do, and that's what we're designed to do.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Dad, as a business owner, they all have to go about creating retirement plans for their employees. But they also have to worry about creating a retirement plan for themselves. So as a small business owner, someone that's just getting started, what is the first type of plan they should probably take a look at, if not multiple plans? Because really they're on their own when it comes to retirement. They don't have any help or guidance.
Right. Well, it really depends a lot on the employee census, Mike. For instance, how many employees do you have? Are they full and part-time? How long have they been with you? What are their ages, etc.? Because then when you start to look at that profile, it's almost like the geography of your employees in your organization. Then you can start to distinguish what kind of retirement benefit plan you may have. For most of you, it might very well be a Sol Life 401k or a 401k that employees that have worked with you for a period of time, they can be offered the opportunity to join and contribute money into investments through Fidelity Investments or whoever you use, and basically get an employer match, a profit sharing. We call it a 3% safe harbor contribution simply by virtue of their employment. And you're kind of incentivizing and acknowledging and celebrating and compensating them for their loyalty. So that's one type of plan. However, sometimes those plans can get very expensive depending on how many eligible employees you have. So then you have to look at what I like to call carve-out plans, using a hybrid defined benefit and a 401k plan. So you'd have different classes of benefits for different employees depending on what kind of work they do. For instance, are they a laborer versus a line item executive? Those types of things. And obviously this needs to be done with the careful assistance of a pension administrator and an actuary and an investment advisor to really build out the right plan for you. But doing it right can make a huge difference because you can get some great tax deductions, build up assets separate and apart from the business that will be there for you when you ultimately walk away or sell the business. That's going to be a resource for you.
Yep, and what you said right there is extremely important. You got to do it the right way because
right.
As a business owner or even someone that might just be getting closer to retirement and be working for a business owner.
Right, that's right.
The key aspect when it comes to your money is not necessarily how much you make.
Right.
It's really how much you keep. So
Very
in
important.
regards to business owners, I think this is going to be a quick show because it's getting really hot.
Yeah,
But
it is getting really hot. But
in regards to business owners, what are some things they could do to keep their taxes low? Because I know you've helped people uncover some opportunities that have saved them money over the years.
Right.
Because again, as a business owner and an advisor that advises people on their investments,
Yes.
you have a unique insight because you're also looking for ways that business owners can potentially save money that a traditional advisor probably wouldn't because they might just be working for another person and unaware of these strategies.
Well, that's right. See, I think that's a very important distinction, Mike. See, we're business owners, or I'm a business owner first, and then I'm an investment advisor secondarily. Now, both of those roles are very important, but as a business owner, I have to focus on the business activities, and as an investment advisor, I have to focus on how to help clients meet their goals and diversify and all of the things you need to do when you're trying to invest for your future. That being said, very, very important to understand that a business owner very often thinks differently. And nothing wrong with having an advisor that's a broker, maybe working for one of the big box stores like the UBS's or the Morgan Stanleys of the world. But you know what, the way I look at it is those persons are really house employees. They work for the big brand. Nothing wrong with that. But their primary loyalty must be to their employer. That is their duty, not to the customer. Well, we put our loyalty to you before anything else, before our custodians, which are Fidelity and TD Ameritrade and Schwab. And therefore, we're really trying to look through things with a clearer lens, not through the opaque or the biases of what our employer may think, and we don't have to kowtow to their agenda. I think that's important in a world today where there's still a lot of lack of transparency and opaque fees that you can't even see on your investment statement. It's stunning, Mike, the number of people that come in and don't even know what they're paying in fees. When we help them discover, it's like an epiphany. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been paying so much. How come I never knew this? And the truth is, you can't even see some of those fees or costs on your brokerage statements. They're hidden under what's called unit values, which are net adjusted after fees, so you really never see the fees at all. So it almost feels like nirvana. I'm not paying anything, and in truth, you're paying a lot, and that's very often the case.
And that's exactly why
right.
you need to come on in at some point for
I
our
hope
process.
So.
Yeah, that's exactly why, because we really cover everything you just said in our planning process.
Well, we do. We've developed it. It's pending trademark. It's called the Retirement Compass. The idea is we gather information, on all the important data, and we look at 4 quadrants: your risk control, we look at your investment, your income planning, and your legacy planning to really make sure that everything's integrated together. In that discovery process, what I like to call a deep dive, and in the process of building out or designing your retirement compass, we really find some interesting things. We find out how much risk are you actually taking. Do you know? I think you should. What are the fees that you're paying that you can't even see in the brokerage statement? What kind of pure income do your investments provide, whether the stock market goes up or down? You should know the answer to that question. How tax efficient is your income plan? Do I really need municipal bonds if I live in Florida and we have no state income tax, and municipal bond income actually worsens the tax I might have to pay in retirement on my Social Security benefit? So many things to be thought through, but we do it in an organized process called the Retirement Compass, Mike, and we'd love to offer that to any of our faithful listeners. We'd like to think of you as tribe members, and this is a culture of business, like-minded business owners, and this is Business Bits, things to think about to really help you fortify and protect yourself financially so you can thrive in retirement, not just survive.
Yes, absolutely. I believe we have jam-packed a lot of information in about 10 to 12 minutes. That's a lot for most people to take in.
And the heat has taken my voice away as well, so I don't know, that might be a good thing for everybody that has to suffer through me, though.
Yes, that's a lot of information to take in a short period of time. So I think we're going to start to wrap up the show a little bit earlier than expected today, so we can go find some water, because I know if you're listening on in...
Find a good watering hole there, folks.
Yep,
absolutely.
and if you're tuning on in, you probably got enough notes from the show to go home and definitely start using the internet, Googling on along, and figuring out some information. You could reach on out to us if you'd like, but you could also go just type this into the internet, look up some of the things we're talking about, and get that information on your own as well. So make sure you do so. But Dad, I'm gonna let you end the show because I don't got much more in me. I've been back in this office all day long.
Yeah.
You've been in the office with the air conditioning.
Yeah, even in the air conditioning is failing us, but you know, it's certainly better than this. So I admire you having to deal with this, Mike. You really suffered with it, but hopefully they're going to get this air conditioning fixed pretty darn soon. But at the end of the day, folks, I'm going to get on out of here as well because it is hot as blazes. Just consider us a resource. Michael will tell you today, as he has, and in so many future opportunities, about Business Bites, some of the thoughts and the actionable things we'll be bringing to you. Business Bits, I'm sorry, I probably said bites, I must be getting hungry. Business Bits going forward, and we will be connecting with you very, very soon, I'm sure, my friend. But until then, you have a wonderful day. And Mike, good to be with you as always. Peace out, everybody, and we'll see you soon.